Just like in past instances when President Muhammadu Buhari passed up the opportunity to give executive backing to electoral reforms in Nigeria, this latest action seems to have ignited another maelstrom of public frustration. Academics, teachers of the law, and lawyers themselves have been getting involved, trying to make sense of it all. Well, joining us now to share his thoughts on the legal and political connotations of the ongoing tug of war over the Electoral Amendment Bill is Dr. Chima Nnaji, a lawyer and former governorship candidate in Enugu State during the 2007 general elections. Welcome and thank you for joining the program this afternoon, Dr. Chima. What do you make?
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas in advance.
Merry Christmas in advance to you, sir. What do you make about this ongoing back and forth between the lawmakers and, of course, the bill that has been declined? And how do you see us moving forward?
Quite frankly, I wouldn't say I am shocked or surprised that the president declined the assent. To the contrary, actually, my surprise is that he did not seem to understand that history had just beckoned on him to write his name in gold and rewrite all the iniquities with which his administration has been stuck to for the past 6 years plus. He had just missed it. Even if he assents to that today, it doesn't make much difference. This is a denigration of duty and the people of this country. And you begin to question, as so many people have become too askance, where does the loyalty of this president lie? Where does his sense of duty lie? Is it with the people that presumably voted for him, or for personal interest and some of his kitchen cabinet or perhaps political associates? This is a bill that has been overwhelmingly passed based on the overwhelming agitation of Nigerians of good conscience, being tired of all the shenanigans in our political system. And eventually, willy-nilly, some legislators acceded to the passage. Having so been passed, and the so-called the relationship between the president and the Senate, as their Lawan will always flaunt, he still went ahead to disgrace them. Because the leadership of the National Assembly had a special session with the president on the passage of this bill, hoping that, as the Bajabia Miller expressed openly and in the media, that the president will do the needful. Now, the president has affronted them. The question now is, what is the National Assembly going to do? What are they capable of doing? Nigerians know what they are capable of doing. They are capable of not doing anything. But the surprise element will be that the National Assembly this time around, having gone through a lot of criticisms on account of self-imposed subservient role they have been playing, will try to acquit itself creditably this time and rewrite history on their side. Whether that can be done in January is yet another question, because the signs are not positive. What they want is the passage of time, and they think Nigerians are suffering from amnesia. We are not.
Okay, I know you talked about it very briefly, but I want you to sort of elaborate a little bit more regarding your thoughts on the Senate backing down on their plan to override. What are your thoughts?
I said we are used to the shenanigans. So there are some few individuals there that have the guts, the temerity, and of course the rashness of character to confront this president with his arrogance of power. But they are in the minority. And when the leadership of the National Assembly had openly stated that even if the president says jump and they have waist pain, they will still ask him how high so that they know whether they will crash, not to challenge whether they will jump. So you have those voices drowned or skimmed out by the manipulations of the system that we are watching. It is very simple. What Nigerians are saying, you adroitly participated in the debate that culminated into the passage of this bill. It's a collective thing, even if you willy-nilly endorsed it. It's not in the public space that it was the Senate and the National, in fact, the National Assembly passed the bill. So for a Senate president to say they want to consult their constituents, or the House of Reps leader to say they want to come back in January, this is simple as ABC. The president withholds his assent. You enforce your will, which is the will of the people. It doesn't take time if, in the actual sense, those people are interested in this country and their loyalty to the people, even though the people may not have elected them, because there is a rebuttable presumption that some of these people in the National Assembly were actually elected. And that's the crux of the matter. So it's a simple thing that should have simply overridden the veto of the president, and for once, call off his arrogance. He has insulted and assaulted them serially, that if they had any balls, this would have been an opportunity to be on the side of the people and on the side of history. But they seem to be allowing this opportunity to slip away needlessly, as always. History will not recognize them and reckon them well.
Yes, we are definitely watching our democracy in action. The Speaker of the House famously said that we should not throw out the baby with the bathwater. And Dr. Bukola Sakari has also said similar in a press release. He has also given, let's speak about the timeline of whichever option that we choose. See, he says whichever option our legislators choose can be accomplished in the shortest possible time. We could have a new electoral law in January of 2022. We also know that primaries are coming up next year. It's going to be a bit of a confusing time between what the laws are. What are the options for the National Assembly right now, especially knowing that the time is short and the stakes are high?
There is what they call in English the Hobson's choice. The Hobson's choice is a no choice. There is only one option, and that option is to override the president's veto. And even if in the worst case scenario, and I don't think it is very necessary to bring anything about amendment, because direct process of election, either primary or whatever, is the best. It enables the people to participate, which is the constitutional mandate given to the political system that we practice participatory election. So we cannot continue with this business as usual. So the only choice now is for the National Assembly to veto the president's veto by overriding his own veto and showing him for once that democracy is beyond one person's choice of action. So there's no room to say they should come back and then remove that particular clause. They will be removing and putting it, and by the time he gets back to, the debate will take 3 months. By the time he gets back to the president, he will now say, he's very close to the 2003 election, so let's go with what is on ground. There is no desire, from my own assessment, there's no desire by the APC federal government to give us a new constitution. All these things going on are simply designed, they were actually designed to achieve this end. Because we saw that even those people who were at the committee level, when they agreed the direct primary option and other, they did not vote at the plenary. That shows you that some of these characters have no integrity. And the Senate, from classic political philosophy, the Senate is supposed to be the representative of the states, where you have senior citizens who have the right training, the right aptitude, the right attitude, the patriotism, the experience, and who have the conscience to protect the integrity of the state. what do you have? You have individuals who are kowtowing to the interest of few cabals. And if they prevail, then the people will trust. So there's no option other than passing this particular bill into law by overriding the president. We have tolerated this president to the point that we bend back so much to tolerate some of his excesses and incompetence. Now we're having waist pain. We don't want to continue with this waste pain in 2022.
All right, so I wanted to ask you regarding your thoughts. Let's talk about the president himself and some of the reasons that he gave for withdrawing assent to the bill. He talked about the high cost, the security challenge of monitoring elections. He talked about the violation of citizens' rights, marginalization of small parties, likely litigations and possible manipulations. What are your thoughts, legally speaking, regarding some of these reasons and objections to the direct primaries?
It has to be considered that even without giving you reasons, the president will be within his legal rights if he says he's not going to sign without giving any reason. But the issue is at the level of conscience, having sworn to protect the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians, is he within his level of conscience to have made that decision? Now, some of the reasons given, when you take them serially, let me talk about security. The president had the temerity to mention security as one of the reasons. Why is he there? For 6 years, we have noticed the highest level of carnage, destruction of properties and lives of Nigerians all over the country. The much that we have never seen in the history of this country, even when the Nigerian state was at war. Yet the president, being oblivious of the fact, apparently, that he is the chief security officer, is citing security as one of the reasons. Laws are made in a futuristic way. Laws are not made with short-sightedness or myopia. This Electoral Act is supposed to outlive his administration. When somebody who is more competent would have come to address the issue of security and liberate this country from the clutches of terrorism and all those manipulated shenanigans. So the president calling about terrorism or insecurity, we saw that under the PDP administration of Jonathan, when insecurity was at its own halcyon level in Borno State, elections still held, even though they had to postpone election for some 1 or 2 weeks or thereabout. Now, everywhere is in trouble, but elections have been going on. Perhaps the president should have been more forthright in saying that if we adopt the direct primaries, the people will now count, and the people may not be exposed to security risks by actually participating, because I confess that in the previous ones, elections were manipulated, results were written at the comfort of people's homes, and so on and so forth. If that is the statement, we will understand. But for him to count it as one of the reasons why elections should not go under his watch as the chief security officer, that is self-indictment. Now, when did the president become so loving of Nigerian people, after inflicting all the condign punishment for no justification, that is now caring that
Dr. Chima, thank you so much for joining the program and talking with us this afternoon. That was Dr. Chima Nnaji.